So, turns out, second time, third time, fifth time, depends on how many times you count my tests, is the charm. I have finally gotten a recording of Dyson Sphere Program. It is probably a bit choppy, and that's due to the recording software I was forced to use is different than my normal one. I believe it's more CPU bound than GPU bound, so there might be some issues that you'll notice throughout the video. I'll do my best to clean it up. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. And so without further ado, how to bootstrap your base 101 with Jake. Enjoy. So this is Dyson's Sphere Program, which is a great fun game that I'm going to show you guys kind of a bit of a tutorial, kind of a how to build your first base, give you something to model, at least a primary construction area where you can kind of bootstrap your way up and move on from there, as it were. So we're just going to use a random seed that comes up, drop our number of stars to 32 because not sure if this computer can take much more than that, and leaving the resource multiplier at 1x. Now you can take this all the way up to infinite, at 8x being the highest before infinite, if you don't want to have to fly all over the galaxy. But I think that's part of the charm of the game. And of course you can take it down to half. So, without further ado, let's jump in. I don't think stars are supposed to bounce off other stars. Anyways.
Welcome to the actual universe. You may find it's different from our homeland. Should you be able to adapt to the laws of physics in a short time, I am your advisor and will help you through this mission.
So we're going to start by slingshotting our way across the sun here.
Everything here is yours.
Ooh,
As one of
everything?
Cosmo and the pioneer of the Dyson Sphere program, you will explore this cluster step by step. By using the resources here to construct the Dyson Sphere to provide energy for the center brain to maintain homeland, starting from scratch. I have chosen a designated planet for you to start the mission, which has necessary resources for initial development. Now please drive the space capsule to the planet.
Alright, so it looks like we scored big on our starting location here. As you can see, you always start around a gas giant on kind of a, like a moon planet. A moon-sized, or planet-sized moon, if you would. Looks like we scored big by having 2 planets around the same gas giant, which means when we expand, we won't have very far to go. Oh yeah. So, we're going to go ahead and fly towards this planet here. Oh no. There's a lot of lag happening.
Now you are about to reach the designated planet.
Let's hope that cuts out as we get more planet side, that is. I'm having to use a different recording software that I'm usually used to, and I think this one's a bit more CPU intensive, and it don't think the computer's liking that much. I might drop the graphics on the game a bit to compensate.
This is Icarus,
Oh, well.
a lightweight industrial mecha with powerful functionality. You can use the arrow keys or right-click on the destination to control its movement. In this mission, you will manipulate Icarus to travel beyond the stars and create miracles. You can use the same operation to collect resources, such as trees, gravel, etc.
So
In the meantime, hold down Shift and right-click to give a series of commands. You receive several items after recycling the space capsule. Click the inventory button in the lower right corner of the screen to open the cabin to view them.
So, when you first start, you can break down the ship you arrived on because you don't need it anymore. And that will give you 10 copper ingots.
You can hold down mouse middle button drag to rotate the angle of view, or slide the mouse wheel to zoom in and out.
10 magnets and 10 iron plates. as well as 5 hydrogen fuel rods. Now you might be asking, why do you need hydrogen fuel rods? Well, that is because your mech consumes energy as you move about and as you tell it to do things. See, we're going to go ahead here and we're going to start collecting some copper ore, move over, get some iron, move over, get some stone, you know, get the things we need. I'm going to have a quick peek around and see if I can't find any coal. Oh, there it is, hiding up there. Coal's going to be one of the first 3 things we get going here. So, as you can see here, we do need fuel to keep our mech powered. So we're going to start off with the hydrogen fuel rods. This should get us going long enough until we can get coal. Hopefully.
Yet you have not unlocked the construction menu, which will be done automatically when complete any technology research. Click the technology tree button at the bottom right of the screen to open the technology tree and activate a research.
Thank you. Can I speak now? Appreciate it. So, I like to get about 50 copper and 50 iron going to start. While that's going, oh, that's right, we do need to actually get some of this going, don't we? Yeah. So while that is building, we will go ahead and, or while that's harvesting, we'll go ahead and build 10 or 20 of these electro units, which are a very common basic component that you will need for basically everything. And as we build those, you'll see our research start to tick across. Okay, looks like we're almost there on our ore. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and move over here to the coal. I am aware.
You have created a mining machine to achieve ore collecting automation. Pick it up from the inventory, or select it on Gathering of Construction menu to build it.
Now the neat part about building...
You can use the R key to rotate the mining machine for covering more veins. The more veins covered, the faster the ores will be gathered. If you want to ignore grid snapping, try holding down the Shift key.
Can I kill the tutorial? Is that a thing I can do? Gameplay. Is there a way to kill him? Show only important tips. Apply. Shut up. So, as you will see, the miner here has kind of a unique way of operating compared to other. It gives you an arc, and that arc is where it will harvest from. So we need to kind of wiggle it around here and try and get the most possible for the bang for our buck, as it were. We're going to go ahead and put the wind turbine down to start. We will need
wind
probably...
turbine. You have established your first power grid. Not all power facilities has its power supply area. Use the Tesla Tower to extend the area of the power grid.
As I was trying to say, before he so kindly interrupted me. Pop our windmill down, and you can see it actually generates its own area where it can power things. You just pop it next to your first miner to get going. And you want to kind of get a good couple of stacks here, because the hydrogen fuel rod is not nearly as powerful as just like a stack of coal is. Like 80 megajoules is 2 of these hydrogen fuel rods. 215 is a stack of coal, and you get a stack of coal just that quick. And the time it took me to explain that. So it's important to kind of keep your fuel topped up if you want to be able to, you know, do the things you need. Now, as you saw there, we do need more gears in order to produce more of these mining machines. Now, we can produce things in our fabricator, just on our being here, as it were. But because we do need more iron, we're going to go ahead and the first secondary mining machine, which will be up here in 13 seconds, we're going to go ahead and put on some iron over here. And then our third will be copper. The last one I want to get going is stone, but it looks like stone's over there. So we're going to need to get a little bit more automation going before we get there. So I want to go ahead and get this basic assembler process going first and foremost. Now,
one of your production facilities is not powered. You need to keep it within the power coverage area and supply it with power facilities in order to maintain its normal works.
As I was saying, one thing we will want to automate as soon as possible is the building of our conveyor belts, but we have to unlock them first. And I kind of want to get the assemblers unlocked first. So we'll need more iron. So we're going to go ahead and produce 2 more of these because we need them. And then we'll produce 20 of the circuit boards and 10 of the gears. And why am I overproducing on circuit boards? It's because they're extremely useful, just in general. So it's kind of a shame not to have them. So, man. Oh, cancel. Thank you. That was so close. There we go. That's better. And, of course, we're going to go ahead and drop another wind turbine. Now, eventually, we will be hooking these all up to a power network, essentially, as it were. Or power grid, I should say. But for right now, just starting off, dropping a windmill right next is a great way to supply it with all the power it needs, without getting any diminishing returns from having other things that are powered nearby. We're also probably going to need some more electromagnets, so I'm getting those going, and probably we'll be fine with that. But we will go ahead and build more wind turbines because power rapidly becomes an issue. So something to keep in mind. Just something to keep in mind. So now you can see our research here is starting to tick over, which will give us an assembler, which isn't going to be useful immediately, as you may have guessed, but it will become useful shortly. Now, you may notice that we might not have a lot of usable land just right around here, and that's totally fine. What we're actually going to probably do is set up our little bootstrap base, as I like to call them, right here on this, thank you, right here on this little area. Now the next piece of tech I want to get working is this logistics system. And then automatic metallurgy, which will get us smelting, and everything else on this list here. I believe, yeah, it requires the blue science. So the last thing I want to research in this is the electromagnetic maintenance. We also have a secondary unit, or a secondary tree here, which is some upgrades for our mecha itself. And this is a whole thing, but we'll get into that in a second. I'm just going to start by upgrading the mecha core, which is what is required for a lot of these secondary, tertiary, etc. upgrades. Now, I know we'll need stone, and there is a small outcropping of stone right here, so I'm going to go ahead and get another miner set up. I'm also going to go ahead and get some more gears going, because gears are always handy. They're one of the primary bits that are used in crafting belts. They're one of the primary things crafted in belts. That's what I was trying to say before my brain completely shut down on me there. Now, stone can be smelted into a couple of different things. It can be smelted into stone brick, which is useful for making of assemblers or something. It's useful in making one of these things. Is it assemblers? No, it's not assemblers. It must be smelters that it's used in. But another thing it's used in is glass. It can be smelted into glass, and that's useful in a bunch of different things all throughout all of our production lines. So we're going to kind of go pick up some more raw resources so that we have enough in the bank, as it were, to continue our research.
You have received the sorter and the conveyor belt, which can achieve full automation now. Use the conveyor belt to transport the piled up ores from the mining machine, and the sorter can deliver the ores from the conveyor belt to the smelter for automatic smelting.
Indeed it can. So as he just mentioned, we will need a bunch of this right here. Now we are a little low on iron, so I'm going to go over to the iron mine and get some more, but we're going to go ahead and pour as much production into these belts as we can, because we will we'll eat through all of them in almost no time. So I want all of that production that I can possibly get. Actually, I thought I had made an extra miner. I guess I did not. That's unfortunate. Well, we can go ahead and produce an extra one. So once those belts are done, we will go ahead and get
When
an
putting
extra
a conveyor
iron mine
belt,
up.
all you need to do is determine the start point and the end point of it. In addition, use the up arrow key to lift up one level, and use the down arrow key to drop down one level after the conveyor belt is lifted. Press keypad 0 to reset the construction height of the conveyor belt to the ground. If you don't want the conveyor belt to be attached to the building, you can try holding down the shift key.
Now there is a couple of questions we have here to tackle. Now, to build our bootstrap base, we are going to need assemblers, which we have one of, and we're going to need to be able to build all of our stuff up there. Now, do you build the smelter next to where you're harvesting the ore from, or do you bring the ore there? I'm generally of the thought process that you should smelt the ore nearby to where you're getting it, at least in these early stages, just because it means that you have a cleaner area to work with up ahead, as it were. So, oh, of course I need more iron, because you always need iron. Always. The drive for iron is insatiable, and you will always need it.
You built a smelter, which can smelt basic materials, such as iron ingots and copper ingots automatically, while you want to make the raw materials and products get in and out of it autonomously. You need to use sorters and conveyor belts. The sorter is a transportation connector of cargoes between facilities. It will automatically transport them as long as the supply facility and the receiving facility are bridged.
And this recording software is not happy with me. Do I really not have enough? We're also going to need a whole bunch of sorters, guys.
You have a building without recipe set.
I have
Please
a
set
lot
the
of
recipe
things
you
without
want.
stuff set, dude. Come
After
on,
selecting
chill.
the recipe, you can use the less than key to copy the recipe and the greater than key to paste the next building that needs to set the same recipe.
Dude has no chill at all.
After selecting the recipe, you can use the less than key to copy the recipe and the greater than key to paste the next building that needs to set the same recipe. You have done building the first power transmission facility, Tesla Tower. It can carry out short-distance wireless power transmission and expand the power supply area of the power grid. Click on it to view the current power grid information.
Okay, so now that we have our second miner here, we're going to go ahead and double dip on our iron because we will need it. Oh, yes we will. So we're going to go ahead and double dip on our iron, and then we're going to run this out, down, around, in. And I'm not trying to make this look good, I'm trying to make this functional. Something about these factory setups that you always want to consider is you always want to have more ability to expand. Basically, you want to kind of expand as far as you can, you know, before you run out of stuff, as it were. Production is what I meant to say, not stuff. Pardon me. As I said, it's been a day. My brain is a little frazzled, and I apologize. So, while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and get these rocks taken care of, because breaking down rocks can give you some minor resources. You're seeing there I'm getting stone, magnetic coils, titanium ore, silicon ore. Titanium and silicon generally aren't found on your starting planet, so this is a good way of getting a small amount of it to start off with, to maybe finish a couple of those weird projects in the future before you have a steady supply. It's not necessary, but it's there if you need it. Now, we are going to go ahead and output our magnets onto this belt.
You can now click the planet thumbnail button in the lower left corner of the screen, or press the M key to try the planet view mode.
Okay. Luckily for us, we don't need a whole lot of fancy... Oh, pardon me. We don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff when it comes to iron. As you can see in the iron side, you can smelt iron into either iron plates or magnets. You don't have to do that sort of stuff with the copper. Copper just turns into copper, at least early on. Not entirely sure. I haven't made it super far down the tech line. There might be another recipe for baseline copper in there somewhere. But one of the things I want to get automated first is, as I was mentioning, the automation for our belts. Now, lack of material. I'm going to take that to probably be iron, right? Probably. But before we get that going right now, I want to get this set up. So I want to build... Lack of material. Yeah, lack of iron. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, and as you saw earlier, but I didn't mention it, you can actually pull resources right off the belt, which is super helpful. So nice. So nice, guys. Can't even tell. Can't even begin to tell you how nice that is. So you can see here, we can build assemblers. So I'm going to go ahead and build an assembler. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get these smelters for the copper set up. Now the nice thing about these sorters is they can actually go fairly far. I think it's like 3 belts over that they can go out to, which is super useful. Super, super useful. There we go, get some power going. And we've got some copper plates coming out now. Look at that. So good. Now, do I have another assembly machine made up? I do indeed. So we're going to go ahead and put our second assembly machine right down. Pipe over the gears. Put our iron plate belt continuing upwards, because we're going to have that go past this assembly machine eventually. And this assembly machine is going to start producing belts, which does so from iron plates and gears. And it's going to output right into a storage chest for us. One of those other things that needs stone and bricks. Because we will need so many of these.
You built a storage, which can be used to store cargo. You can manually store or use the sorter to automatically stock the cargo.
And the sorter can actually even go kind of crossways and get off of its original position there if you have to have it. Now I'm going to limit this down to about 6 stacks, because I think 6 stacks is probably all we're going to need for what we're doing here today. Now, something I do want to check here on our technology is thermal power. Okay, so thermal power is something we really want to get online as fast as possible because it gives us a couple of things. It gives us the ability to burn fuel for energy, which is going to be really nice when paired with our smelting purification. So we're going to in-queue smelting purification and thermal power because thermal, or the smelting purification, will give us energetic graphite, which is smelted from coal, which is a heck of a lot more energetic, as the name suggests. It has a lot more power contained within it than straight coal does, which means our mech will actually run longer off of that than it will off of just straight coal. And energy density is something you come to appreciate quite heavily in this game. So we're going to go ahead and start moving our copper up, our iron up, and our magnets up to our selected work area, as it were. Now we are also going to go ahead and have to get a smelter set up for the stone and for the coal here in a second. But before that, I do kind of want to get these energy things going. Now they require magnetic coils and circuit boards. So we're going to need 2 magnets and a copper and 2 iron plates and a copper in order to produce those. Luckily, we're already producing magnets, iron plates, and copper. So one of the first things we're going to set up here is a production facility for electromagnets and circuit boards. So we're going to need another assembler, which we don't have enough of. We don't have enough iron to make. So let's go ahead and snag that up, and we will produce the 3 assemblers that we currently can. Now you notice here the labs that create those matrices require glass. So while we're waiting for this to happen, let's go ahead and pull some more iron out of this, see if we can't craft another smelter, and we will go ahead and get some glass smelting over here. Now we are going to want, oh, it looks like we're going to need some Tesla towers. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and steal a bunch of product from these belts because we already have it refining, so we might as well. Might as well, not mind as well. Blah, blah, blah. I get about 100 iron plates, or until the belt runs dry. Need more smelters, duly noted. Basically, we're going to desaturate these belts here. Alright. And desaturate the copper belts as well. So we're going to need some more smelters here in this to up production, because as you can tell, just me coming by and snagging some stuff has already caused an issue there. So we do need some more smelters, so I'm going to go ahead and let's do 5 more smelters. Yeah, 1 more of that, and a couple more of these science labs. That should hold us to start. We are running out of power. Balls. I need more iron. I realized that I was meaning to build power lines, and then I got caught up in doing production stuff because I'm more production focused than power focused, and that is a problem. Once this belt is desaturated, go ahead, go up here, and let's produce 20 of those and all of those. So, go over here and get this smelting area set up for the stone, even if I can't necessarily power it yet. Need more belts. And one of the best things about leveling up as you go along in this game is that you get to move faster and faster. You get to unlock the ability to actually fly rather than just hovering over water that's deep. And you get more and more construction drones that are more and more faster. Yes, I said more and more faster. What are you going to do about it? So, now that we've got some stone, we're going to go ahead and get 2 smelters, 2 for each of the things that we're going to be needing to get made up here. So the first 2 are going to be stone brick, and the second 2 are going to be glass. And then we'll have these 2 go there, these 2 go there, and they will both come out like that. Looks like I need more sorters. I have to self-build more sorters as soon as possible. Basically, as soon as I get back there, I want to build more. And let's go ahead and get this power routed back to our other system here so that we can link up. And then we will go ahead and place more wind turbines down. Turbines, pardon me. And get a bit more of our energy grid going. So you can go ahead and look at your usage and everything here as you'd like to in the production button panel, which is P. You can see here that we are currently using basically all of the iron and copper that we can get. Stone, we're producing more than we're using. Power, on the other hand, we are currently spiking out of control and need more. That's what are these. Oh, bollocks. One moment, please. Your construction bots will freeze when you run out of power, which is why it's important that you never run out of power, which is why I say we needed coal. And then I totally forgot to stock up on coal because I'm bad at what I do some days. Oh, it takes so long to do everything. Just give me enough power. Awesome. Now that I have enough power, I can run to the coal, sort of. I can at least not be so goddamn slow as I run over there. Open up. Give me my beautiful coal. Ah, glory. Actually, while we're here, go ahead and snag some resources. And we're going to go ahead and build another one of these, and all of these that we can. And I'm wanting to get at least some coal reserves going here. And this is just temporary so that I can get power going. So we're only going to have like 2 stacks of coal in here. And you can hear it was struggling because it wasn't getting emptied fast enough. So let's go ahead and get that all it can take. So why not? There's enough power from that one windmill here to do all of that. So go ahead and get that stocked up. Okay, we should be good for a little bit longer. I need to keep better eye on that. Okay, and let's get some of these belts off of there. and I am in the process of getting our little factory thing going so we can get these matrix labs built. Or so we can get working on our maintenance, our labs. Okay, so you can see here we're really close to the pole, so building a nice grid is going to be hard. You should honestly build more towards the equator than
In the
this.
planet view mode, you can hold down the middle mouse button drag, rotate the angle of view, and hold down the right mouse button to roll the angle of view.
Shut up!
Press N key to point to the front to
You
the
can't
north.
understand how many times I've heard this guy in the last 12 hours. It's
In the planet
infuriating.
view mode,
I'm
slide
going
the mouse
to
wheel
scream.
to enter the star map mode.
I will not give you the joy of the star map mode now. Anyways, the grids shrink as you get towards the poles. This is because of how laying out squares on circles do. So it's usually better to build your grids closer to the equator because they will be more flat, if that is a thing that matters to you. For this base, it's not a thing that matters to me. I just want something that we can use. So, as I said, we're going to go ahead and get this started over here. And I just want to bring the glass over, because glass is something we'll actually use in construction. The stone brick, we'll get to that in a second. Usually it's not that big of a deal. So I wanted circuit boards, which is copper and iron, and I wanted electromagnets, which is magnets and copper. So we can go ahead and use a couple of our assemblers that we have here. And some of our belts. And this is the nice part about those sorters that we have. Oh, right, I need more iron. I forgot to grab that. Well, might as well grab some coal while I'm here. Let's see, look at that glorious coal. So good. Let's wait for these to build some stuff. Okay. I don't know why I'm here instead of up there. I just started walking down by accident / out of instinct. Save me from myself. Wish I was more perfectly efficient, but alas, not germ. Okay. Now, as your construction bots go and build things, they will build things in a radii priority centered on your mech, which can be useful here as I'm trying to get these belts on the left built before I get this stuff over here on the right built. So it's useful for me to stand just a little bit closer here. They focused on that first. Now I can move over here and get this all sorts of taken care of. So we're going to go ahead and get that, and we're going to go ahead and get that. Okay, so now we have the circuit boards wanting to be produced here, and the electromagnets, or magnetic coils as they're called, be produced here, which we can start doing because I know this only needs copper and iron. We will go ahead and select that just like that. Now this needs electromagnet, or it needs magnets and copper, and magnets. And then you can go over here and just, same way as before, start exporting these to that same kind of Same kind of pattern, just reaching over, one reaching over the other. I think we'll do electromagnets on the outside and circuit boards on the inside. Now that we have both of those, we can go ahead and drop one of our research facilities down. I'm going to put it right here. We'll do 2 there. And this does get a little tricky as the game freezes.
Matrix Lab. You can use it to make super matrices or research technologies that require them to unlock. The super matrices are the source code of the center brain for maintaining the homeworld. You could upload as many super matrices to the center brain as possible. You can be benefit to unlock more actual world technologies by operating the homeworld simultaneously.
Thanks, bud. Really great there. Actually, you know what? I don't want this here. Stop what you're doing. And you, I want you to produce the selected science, and you will ship it over to you, where it will be consumed. Okay, so you can stack things vertically like this, and it's totally fine. Why are you producing? It's not producing. Oh, that didn't. Sometimes when the game is laggy, you can misclick. And that's exactly what I did here. And accidentally was shipping things from one belt to another, not from the factory to the belt, which is not what you want to do. Oh, no, we're going to go back. You are go back. You're going to science. Okay, so science buildings, much like any other building, can actually, like most other buildings, not all buildings, but some other buildings, can be stacked vertically. Baseline, they can be stacked vertically 3 tall, which is important to remember. Or so I'm told. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to go ahead and build 3 more of them because I want as much science as I can get my grubby little hands on because it's important to me. And we're going to go down here and let our drones do a little bit more of their building, which is important for them. Now, after we get these technologies here, one of the things we're going to want to get is logistics system, steel smelting, and where is it? Environmental modification, which unlocks after we get steel smelting. You're also going to want to get this stuff, but it's not as important for just getting your first base up and running, so I'm not personally going to cover it in this video. It will probably be in the next video. Are we really running out of power again? We're running out of power again. Okay, I guess I'm going to build more windmills. And I'm out of iron for windmills again. Okay. No, I shouldn't. You should not automate production of windmills. It's tempting. It's tempting, but you shouldn't do it. Because windmills are outclassed by thermal power so quickly, it's not worth the automation. And if it wasn't for the fact that they weren't yet researched, I would just go get the thermal power station set up right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and produce a few more windmills, just enough to kind of beef up our power system here before we get moving on thermal power. Because trust me when I say this, thermal power kicks ass. And remember, your core moves from right to left, so you can always put the lower stuff in the right socket there to drain first. helpful, useful, advantageous. All those words. Okay, now we can see here that the coal is going to need a little bit of a larger area. Now that shouldn't connect because I didn't connect it, hopefully. We'll find out when we, but it shouldn't connect. Okay. And we'll have... need more belts. This is why you get belts. That's why you get belt production up and running as soon as possible, because you always need belts. Always and forever. I'm going to move this down here because I want the thermal power to go to the left there. I'm also going to go ahead and get another box made up. This can go ahead and start smelting the energetic graphite, pardon me. I will say graphene constantly because it's another one of the resources later in the line. Actually, you know what? I want 4, one for each slot on our Mac. Oh, I need to connect this to the actual power grid, so it will actually get some bloody power going here and keep those smelters operational. Now, we gotta get this thermal power station up and running here, because, oh boy, do we need the power. So, the nice thing about thermal power stations, similar to...
A thermal power station. Such power facilities need to consume chemical energy fuels.
I'm going to kill you, you annoying robot person! Shut up!
At all times.
I'm going to slay him. I'm going to turn him into scrap metal and recycle him. Are you still having an issue with... No, you're having an issue with production. Okay. This is having an issue with power because it's not getting it. Neither is our output for graphite. Okay. What do I need? I need more electromagnets, so I need more magnets. Give me some magnets. Give me them magnets. Strip them magnets dry. Strip them magnets iron dry. Okay. Now I can build more of these. More iron. Always more iron. Always more iron. Oh, and once you've got science up, you don't need the manual research tab there. It's just getting in the way. Improved logistics system, which is important because we're going to need splitters in a minute. I'll show you the cool things with the splitters because they are sweet. Longer. Okay, we got our 4 coming up right now. So the nice thing about this is you've played Factorio, you can already tell that these kind of chain together. And it's super nice. Look at that go. And then you just connect them with these sorters. Oh, did I mention that the sorters have a filter ability? So you can tell them to only move one type of thing across? Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. Now you will want to kind of double these up because the fuel transfer can be kind of slow. At least to start. And now we're producing way more power than we actually need, which is important because, dear God, do you run out of power so quickly in this game sometimes. Okay. So now we've got power sorted. We've got science sorted, at least for the moment. We've got mech power sorted. What else could we possibly need? Well, we need to start building the buildings that will build us our bases. And also start researching a bunch of technology. So the science here is going well. We'll go ahead and get the electromagnetic drive. Upgrades. Actually, you know what I want? I want communication control and drone engine speed. And then I want drive-in, which is the mecha flight, and energy circuits, which will give us more mecha fuel power. So, what do we need to do in order to build the buildings that build buildings? Is it getting convoluted for you yet? So right now we only have things that build science. Our assemblers working diligently to build that science, which is what's giving us these delicious tech boosts. Now we did just get steel, so we will need to start getting steel, because steel is the path to glory. It's not glory, it's actually tile. Environmental modification, terraforming, that sort of thing. So we're going to go ahead and steal all of these stone bricks, because we need more foundries. And that's actually something we could do. We could throw something that creates smelters and assemblies down. Assembly machines down, that is. And I'm actually not against that idea. So what do we need to make an assembly machine? Well, we need iron, gears, and circuit boards. And foundries are the same thing, except with magnets and stone brick. So, this is where the glorious magic of our splitters come in. Yes, it is. So we'll go ahead and bring this around. Now, we're going to go ahead and get the assembly machines for smelters made up first. We need circuit boards and magnets, iron and stone brick. Well, stone brick and iron are easy. They're right here and can be easily grabbed by our assembler, which will be, we'll say right here. Look at that. Boom. Is that optimal placing? By God, no. Not even a little. Is it going to work for what we're doing? You're damn right it is. But we have magnets and circuit boards up here being made. We can bring those down, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Actually, we're not going to do that. I hate that placement. Stupid placement. Don't do what I just did. Bad placement. We will need some splitters, so let's go ahead and make all the splitters we can. And while that is thinking about building the splitters, we're going to go ahead and build our expansion to this belt system right here. And we'll go ahead and build our... Now, splitters are wonderful because you can rotate them, but when they're in this configuration, it just takes input, splits it 4 ways, or takes 2 inputs, splits it 2 ways, however you want to do. You can filter it and set priorities. It's wonderful. But what's really interesting is you press tab, and now you've got one that splits vertically. And you press tab again, and it's got one that splits vertically again.
Splitter
yes.
with 4 directions. It can split the passing cargo or balance the cargo on multiple conveyor belts. The splitting speed depends on the conveyor belt speed. Use the tab key to switch between different styles, and click it to set priorities and filters.
Yes, you are seeing this correct. The belts go up and down, and you can split vertically and shove them off horizontally. Isn't that lovely? It's so good. Can't even begin to tell you how nice that is. Now I want these to come in like this. Boom, just like this. Now, we can go ahead and get our assembly machine here. It's not going to fit right there. That would have been nice if it had, but it's not the end of the world. So, let's go ahead and put our assembly machine, and this is for foundries, so it's just going to go to a box right here. And we can go ahead and bring our materials right across, just like this. Now this isn't going to be expandable, but that's okay for my particular use case here, because I just want this running in the background. Not really going for throughput, as it were, just kind of going for the fact of production at all, is what I'm looking for here. It's really what I'm looking for. Actually, I just realized I can't do this right here. No, I have to bring this around and down like that, because there's only 3 inputs on the side. Okay, speaking of 3 inputs per side, I need so much more material. Why am I always out of material? Always out of material. Now that that's going, go ahead and get this started. We're going to need to bring that in over there, this in there, this in there, and can you guys stop building that for a second? Build the thing I need you to build right here, so I can get this set up so it can run automatically. Thank you. Okay, so that was annoyingly complicated, but that's totally fine. Sometimes that's just how it is. Kind of have to give yourself to the process some days. Just going to take however long it's going to take for however you set up your situation. Sometimes you don't set up your situation quite right, you just got to deal with it. Just one of life's many things that we go through. Not really that big of a deal. So this is going to go ahead and smelt foundries. And we're going to go ahead and put those into a box. Now we're only going to have it build 1 stack, because we probably won't need that many more, honestly. Just not something that's probably going to need to be super in stock. Just something, just enough to build something as we need it. So it's there when we need to build stuff. Should be fine and dandy. Send those construction bots out. And those stone bricks will come crashing on the wall. Now, something I do notice here that we're going to need to fix is we're going to need to have a splitter here for the iron. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some of that. And we're going to go ahead and put just a standard 4-way right there. And then bring that in and bring it out. And angle too wide. What are you talking about? Oh, is it? So this is something you have to look out for, and it's really finicky. That grid snap that I was talking about, how it changes. You can see here, sort of the land is in the way, but the land actually changes between there and there, so it can't snap to that grid. So you have to kind of massage the belt into it, as it were. So sometimes your belts act up, and you just gotta work them. Just gotta work them into place. But once you get them, they're open. Okay, you can see here we're starting to run out of magnets. So one of the things I'm gonna do with some of the brand new foundries we have, you can see that build 13 real quick, like faster than we could. Boom, so good to have. We're going to go over here and we're going to go ahead and get some more smelting capacity for iron and actually for our magnets. This should be, I think, I want 2 more foundries for the magnets. And we'll do 1 more for the iron. Even out. And then we'll extend the belt down. Our sorters sorted out. And we might need more sorter. We might need, no. We may very well need more, iron made up. I mean, we're starting to saturate the belt now, so that's good. But the magnets are going to take a while to stabilize there. So we're going to go ahead and what's our energy look like in our mech? Well, we're good there. So now we've got one set up for our, what do you need? What's the tech that we're working on need? Oh, drive engine needs coal and electromagnets. Okay. Well. This is one of those ones where we're going to have to use inventory items. I don't necessarily enjoy doing this, but it's what you got to do some days. And I do that a lot, as I always pop my exit button a little bit too hard and end up blacking the screen out for a second. Okay, so we've got foundries being built. That's going great. We need assembly machines being built. And assembly machines are much more simple. They just need iron, gears, and circuit boards. So, from over here, we will go ahead and bring some more of our circuit boards over. And we will go ahead and bring our iron over. Now remember, iron doesn't, or gears don't need to be put on belts because they don't compress. And what does compression mean? So like a circuit board takes 2 iron and a copper. So each circuit board represents 3 materials on the belt. Well, actually, each one represents 1.5 materials because each of the 3 incoming materials makes 2 circuit boards. But whatever. So there is a compression happening on that belt. which is important to remember. Because if something doesn't compress, there's not really a reason taking up a bunch of space making it, and then shipping it all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and get that upright just one level to about there. Same with you. All right. Oh, and look how much faster those drones go. So nice. Okay. And that's all the belt we're going to need, so we can drop these back down to ground level. Ground level. And then... go ahead and bring these over just like this. We'll make another spot right here. So we're going to put an assembly machine down and another assembly machine down because, remember, we need to build gears. And then the gears right here should get shipped over.
Your production compound has reached a certain scale.
Thank you.
Now click the statistics panel button at the bottom right corner of the screen to view statistics.
I already
It includes
showed
the
that.
output consumption of each item, electricity data, etc. Use these dynamic data
Do
can
you
help
think
you to
people
manage your
like
production
you
base.
talking head in the sky, or do you just talk because
You have received
to?
the ability to fly. Double-click the space key to
I
lift
can
off,
fly, I can
and then use the
fly, I
arrow
can
keys to
fly.
control mecha movement. The moving speed will increase by 150%, with more energy consumed under flight mode. Pressing the Alt key can return the mecha to the ground during the flight.
Okay. Now, once we get this powered, we'll have production for our set up for our assembly machine, assembler, which will be put conveniently next to our smelter, and all will be right in the galaxy. Boom. Look at that go. Okay. Now that we have our assembly machines, our smelters, and our belts being made, what is something else we need being made? That's right, sorters. We're going to need so many sorters. Luckily, what would you look there? Iron and what are you going to need? You're going to need sorters. Sorters, what do they take? Iron and circuit boards. What do we have right next to our production line? Iron and circuit boards. That's right. We're just building right on the other side of the pond, as it were. Is that going to be covered? I think that will. Now, the only issue here is I'm hoping I did this. I did do it right. There's no interaction problems. Haha! And this is going to be our sorter builder. Now, your main base, not your bootstrap base, this is not how you want to build. Again, you're just building enough that the buildings are building buildings to build your new base. Just getting you started. Do not build your main base like this. This is just a starting point. And sorters, we'll keep those on the same like 5 stack that we had on the other stuff. Okay, and the last thing that you want to get building is something we don't have yet. Oh, it's because I need logs and graphene. Okay, let me get this research going. 10, 11, 10, 10, 10, 10. Sure, whatever. Nope, not what I wanted. I need to go over here. Be right back. See, I really want to get this where I can fly. I really want to get this terrain modification. And terrain modification requires steel and stone brick. Now, we don't have a steel production made up yet because steel was recently unlocked for us. So we're going to go ahead and branch off our stone up here, kind of well before it gets into the production line. Because I want stone to come over this way, and we're also going to have iron come over this way. Now, because I'm doing this for YouTube and not necessarily doing things exactly as I should, that's right, do as I say, not as I do. 1 second, computer's frozen. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do it this way and get probably 3 smelters for steel going. Now, something that is nice is you go ahead and in the technologies tab or anything, you can go ahead and look at the recipe to see how it's made. You can see these are made by 3 stone and 1 iron or 1 steel in an assembler. So this steel is going to be joining our production line up here, because it's an important resource. But we're also going to have assemblers right below it, just stealing that steel and building, you guessed it, foundation blocks, which will go into a storage. This is going to come out there, that's going to come out there, that's going to come out there. Nope, that has to come out there, so that this can go in there, this can go in there. Get rid of that. And then this can go in there, this can go in there, this can go... boom, 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 and then we'll put one of these right like that, and a nice fast sorter to make sure all the things go where they're supposed to go. And you should be smelting steel. Which, as I said, is going to come up here to these production lines and be carried across. Now, in your main base, you want to kind of do this same thing of the lateral over and the splitting with the splitters, except as a main bus, and I'll show you what that looks like in another episode. It's not really that big of a deal as of right now. However, it looks like we are very, very unsaturated on iron, and that's not going to be good. So, while the research is finishing here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to fly all the way back over here and put some more foundries down, or smelters down, for some more iron, because we need more. More iron. Iron for the iron god, as it were. Now, fair warning to everyone, if you go flying around, watch out for your energy, slow real quick. Trust me, you do not want to be stuck walking home as slow as you possibly can. It sucks. There we go. That has quite well increased our iron production and should keep us well saturated on the belts. Let's see where it's starting to pick up again, which is good because we're using a lot of iron here in this base. In fact, looks like we only have about 50,000, so we've burned through 10% of our iron already in a particular location. Luckily, veins are much bigger in other places on the map. And that's something I will actually get to show you here in a second. Let's go over here to upgrades and universe exploration. This is something immensely awesome to do to start. So this will give us be able to see the vein distribution on the planet, as well as able to see the vein distribution in the whole planetary system. Planetary system is the solar system, just so you're all aware, in case you were not already. So, if you will give me but a moment, I will cut to when we have Foundation research. All right, we have the Foundation unlocked, and the planetary thing. We'll show you that in a second.
You have unlocked the universe exploration.
Oh, God.
Now you can click the details display button in the lower right corner of the screen to open real-time distribution details of the ore veins.
Are you done? Okay, cool. Now, the reason you need Foundation is because of terraforming. Terraforming allows you to flatten a planet. You cannot make mountains.
Foundation, a terrain leveling tool. Yet we cannot use it to change the planetary landforms at will. We can only level the surface to ground zero.
Thank you for
If the foundation is used for high grounds, it will gain soil pile. On the contrary, if it is used on the ocean or low-lying areas, it must consume soil pile. When installing the foundation, either choose a kind of decoration or without decoration, even only surface leveling.
God damn it. Can I turn... I've tried turning you off. It didn't work. Okay. As he said so poignantly, you can increase and decrease the size of the number pad, plus and minus, as it were, down to 1 tile and up to 10 by 10, which requires 100, obviously. So, you get a thing called soil pile, like he mentioned, when you put down a tile. You can see here that it's flattening the ground. So I'm getting soil, right? Well, if I go over here to the ocean, I need soil to level it.
Insufficient required items. You can click the replicator button at the bottom right of the screen to open the panel and manually replicate these items.
Each tile is 1 foundation, and 1 foundation is 3 bricks and 1 steel. This gets expensive very quickly, which is why I say it is important to have this production up and running early. Because, as mentioned, you kind of want to build, in my opinion, around the equator. At least, that's where I like my main bus, because it's easy to get to from the entire planet. I can space off in either direction from there, and it's going to give me the widest area to move my conveyors in straight lines, and give me the most perpendicular angles, which will look the nicest to me. That's why I build around the equator. Now, the equator, you might notice, has a lot of water around it. So that would have to be filled in. Yeah. You know. Like this. Boom. And you can go until the entire planet's covered, if you have enough resources. So, as the man so conveniently said earlier, there is a star map, which is what this is getting to, but something to show right now is we can now see the planetary veins. So we go to this little quadrant down here, and you click vein distribution on. And suddenly you can see every resource on the planet and how much is in each pile of resources. And you might think to yourself, that's 300,000 copper. I'm never going to burn through that. You'll burn through that. Remember, you're trying to make a Dyson sphere. And remember that iron we started off with like 65,000 in it? It's down to 48. We've been playing for an hour and a half. You get a Dyson sphere around hour 60, I think. No, probably more like hour 30 if you're doing this right. Anyways, if an hour can take that with just 2 miners, imagine how much you can burn through once you have some actual stuff going on in the plant. This is just a bootstrap base. This is just the start. Now, the last thing to show you is the solar system map and the planetary, and the interplanetary map. So, if the research we were currently using was finished, you'd be able to see ore on the other planets. As of right now, we don't have any clue. You are actually able to harvest stuff from gas giants. That's just a later thing. And if you click on the sun, you see the entire system's total if you click on the sun, you see the entire system's total amount of ore that they have, as well as the amount, like what type of ore and stuff you can collect, as well as how much of it. Right now we don't know, because our technology is almost barely not done. It's done. Almost as if I timed it. So we'll zoom out, click on the sun, and you can see here we got super lucky in this spawn. We have fire ice. It's a rare ore. I don't actually have access to it in my personal game, but yeah. Water, infinite as long as you have oceans. Hydrogen, functionally infinite if you're collecting it from gas giants. Crude oil. You can see here all of the possible ore. It turns out we actually have less iron than we do silicon in this system, which is a little weird, but not unheard of. And finally, of course, if you zoom out far enough, you get to the star cluster, and all of these stars, every last one of them is ours, to conquer and exploit. But that's going to have to be for another episode. So, with this, good luck building, and I think I'm probably going to go back to my other save, the one that I lost all of my footage from, because it's a better save. So, have a great one. Toodles!